Hello there everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of my Dyson Sphere Program series. I'm Icon, and what can I say? We're not on our home planet anymore. Say hi to 61 Orionis. So this is the neighboring star system right next to Cabellicid. It's only 2 light years away, so they're very close neighbors. This system was a pretty nice find. We got a lot of things that will help us out in the future, and this system I will use to produce either the pre-products for the green science cubes or the entire green science cubes, and we're going to ship them over to Cabellicid for research. Haven't figured out how I'm going to do it yet, but this system has all we need. We got here in 61 Orionis on the green planet, we got spiniform stalagmite crystals directly transformable into carbon nanotubes. That's luxury. And lots of oil, lots of coal to work with. That's really brilliant. Silicon ain't bad either. And 61 Orionis has one has pretty much everything the other plant hasn't. Thick in ores, iron, copper, and titanium. That's the 3 things where the other plant has fallen weak on. And the only real shortage is stone. That's where the system is not really well stacked, but you know, there's always something. And stone is not that much of the most important thing. We need it for glass, and glass is quite important, but I think the stockpiles of stone here should be okay for a while. Anywho, we're not going to be able to found a factory out of nothing here, and the transportation of goods from one solar system to another is a pretty big step. So for today's episode, we're, for one, going to be traveling back to Cabellicid, because our means of stellar travel right now are quite limited. I might have the warpers, but my fuel is still just flimsy hydrogen. Hydrogen is nice and all, and but it's just not much. So I'm going to show you why that's important, and we're going to get back home at Cabellicid and craft ourselves some tasty deuterium fuel rods, because that's just very important at this stage of the game. We got all the necessary prefabrications already done, so let's get over there and show you why we need them. So, here we go. There's Cabellicid. First, to warp, we need to engage into full speed. So, let's do this. We can't warp before we're at full speed. There we go. I'm going to recharge my battery just a little bit. So as you see here now, according to our ETA, we would be flying for 45 minutes now, straight through. So let's hit the warp, pressing the caps lock button, and check out my power. My battery is draining rapidly. So if Cabellicid would have been not that close, I would have real big problems with warping over there. And that's why we need those deuterium fuel rods. It's been only possible to jump over there because of the fact that we're running a really short distance here. I mean, of course, you can just go for 2 jumps. It's also possible, you know. You just go for a recharge phase in space. No problem after all. But I personally dislike that a lot. I prefer to have a smooth jump in one go instead of fumbling around there. And low batteries just make me nervous. You don't need to be nervous about them, as a matter of fact, but I'm pretty sure you can get the idea. So we're now drifting through space, burning those hydrogen fuel rods, and you see how slowly they recharge my battery. There has been a time when these things actually did a lot more for me, but those times are long over. So for proper space exploration, we need some heavier fuel. Luckily, we have pretty much everything already prepared we need. So there we go. Our little solar system that we've taken control of. Well, mostly. So, yeah, let's slow down so we don't slam into the planet at full speed. Nosedive! I still love that every time I do this. It doesn't get old. So, welcome back, Cabellicid. How have you been? So, we have now a pretty sick generation capacity of 115 megawatt here. And if you check out the Dyson Swarm, it's humming at a chill amount of 75 megawatt, and we're still not at the first cycle of Dyson Swarm lifetime. So the first sails we have fired haven't decayed yet, which is pretty sick considering that we already have 2,000 in orbit. I was wondering the other day whether or not these solar sails are actually energy efficient or whatever, because I felt like, man, I'm shooting my coal into outer space, because after all, every solar sail consists out of graphene, which is mostly coal. And then I did a little bit of a calculation. You know, every solar sail roughly produces 0.03 megawatts of energy per second. Then I realized that every single solar sail lives right now 6,000 seconds, so that makes the energy production of 0.03 per sec times 6,000. I ended up with a hypothetical amount of 180 megawatt per solar sail during its entire lifetime. But I mean, this gets diluted by several different factors, but overall, it's a pretty good efficiency of a single solar sail here. So, what are we up to now? First off, we need another particle collider, because we can't do our work without particle colliders. The production has grown quite costly due to that. You know, particle colliders are not exactly small guns, but, you know, you got to do what you got to do. To build them, we need those super magnetic rings, pretty heavy guns too. And here's our tasty strange matter production. Making me proud, kind of like. So, let's check it out. Miniature particle collider. So for deuterium fuel rods, we're going to need deuterium, 20 units. And 1 unit of titanium alloy and one of these super magnetic rings that we got there. So, titanium alloy. I'm producing this stuff right here. So we just need to break the spaghettification of this somewhere up and twiddle a sum up there. And then all we need is deuterium. So, if I remember correctly, I am already importing deuterium here, so that ain't a problem either. Man, so I like how this game works in general. You know, a lot of things are actually really smooth and easy to set up here once you've wrapped your head around how things work in Dyson Sphere Program. So, well, I think this is a good spot for the splitter. I mean, right now we're still chucking rookie numbers, but we'll be getting there, you know. That solar swarm is already doing a great job for the factory. But that's only the beginning. I mean, that's just one orbit being supplied by 4 railguns with a production of 1 flimsy solar sail per second. We can do better than that. Alright, so first off though, we're gonna be needing that titanium alloy. Okay, so here the spaghettification of this place is taking overhand. So where can we twiddle ourselves through here? So if I see that correctly, it can go over like that. Okay, beautiful. Not really beautiful, but it works. Quantum chips. Nice. So we're really pretty much teched out soon. That's one of the last technologies we'll have to research before, you know, look at the tech board. Most of the things are already researched there. It's just that block back here and a couple of outliers that I haven't found time yet for. So, let's see. We're transporting the titanium alloy up there. Deuterium is available, and what are we waiting for? What do we need now? So, that's an assembler product. Okay. I mean, this is by no means a large scale, not by no means going to be a large scale production of these things, but at no point have I planned to do a large scale production of these things, so. refilling my fuel is going to be all this stuff is supposed to do for me. Okay, so the stuff we got on the belts now is extremely valuable. A pain in the rear to produce. These super magnetic rings, you know, this is a refined product. This is pretty basic. The magnets are pretty basic. This is doubly refined, you know. This consists out of 2 refined products. It's just... super magnetic rings are going to be one of the major challenges in the long run here. So, okay, we only need the deuterium now. Is that above the ground? No, I don't think so. Beautiful. So, let's put some foundation below that. And a splitter back. So in the long run, all I need to do now is just make sure that the deuterium production gets spiffed up a bit, and we'll just orbitally transport that towards there. I really like how this works in this game, because this tunes down the logistics stress by a lot. Because, you know, I still do a lot of spaghettification here. I know, but the planetary logistics have lowered this strain by a lot. And while I've never started working with drones in Factorio, in this game somehow it comes pretty fluently for me. I don't know why. Factorio I had way more trouble setting things up. Anywho, Deuteron fuel rods. So, what's the intake of one of these? So, we need to divide 20 by 12, but that means it's more than 1.5. Okay, so it's good that this line is that close. Alright, so we're gonna be using the tier 2 grabbers. And the real fuel is being made. Seriously, that stuff is gonna get us somewhere. So 4 stacks are being made of that. And now, one of the bigger things we have to do in this run now is to refine our hydrogen. I have several spots on the map where I'm basically just waiting to recycle my hydrogen. Also, I got pretty big stack piles of oil. And let's see, what's plastic being used for? Particle broadbands. You know, particle broadbands are really... Plastic is not really a much-used material here. Organic crystals, okay, they're necessary for the Casimir crystals. Ah, okay. But since we can harvest the organic crystals directly in the other system, plastics are not that necessary. But the good news is, there's X-ray cracking. Whenever you have too much oil on your hand, use X-ray cracking. You know, you transform your oil into hydrogen on a 1-by-1 basis. I like that. Okay, so with these babies, we're going to be able to travel further towards the stars. So I have to wait, though, for these to be finished for now. So let's pick up 20 strange matter units here while we're waiting. So, what am I lacking here? Ah, diamonds. So just crafting a heavy supply of warpers, just so I don't forget them, you know. At the beginning, we have to do this all manually, but in the long run, we're not going to be bothering with that anymore. I mean, we have to mass-produce these things. But about warpers, this is going to be one of the few times where we are going to produce warpers like that, because I personally think this recipe here is pretty better, you know. You can take one gravity matrix and transform it into 8 freaking warpers, you know. That's just massive. I calculated it. Basically, 0.1 gravity matrix transforms into 0.8 warpers per second, so we can really easily provide that later once we have those green cubes, which we haven't right now. So I'm gonna fast forward here a bit until these babies are made, and then the next thing I want to do with you, my friends, is take a look into the neighborhood, because, you know, we've checked out 61 Orionis, but I'd really love to take a glimpse at Sedacbia. Sedacbia seems to be a pretty interesting system as well. It doesn't feature the really interesting things here. I mean, this is just luxury. Organic crystals, carbon nanotubes, sulfuric acid. Just want to use that. On the other hand, fire ice, kimberlite ore, and fractal silicon. If I remember correctly, fractal silicon was used for direct production of crystal silicon, which is a pretty nice thing to have, you know. Crystal silicon is, after all, necessary for accumulators and also particle broadbands. Okay, particle broadbands are not exactly the big stars, but what was the other thing? Yeah, here. Kimberlite ore transforms directly into diamonds. It's also a nice shortcut, and yeah. See you once we got the fuel. Alright, I grew a little bit impatient, and I felt like, no, that should be enough. We're gonna be fine with that. 2 stacks of that should be more than enough. So, first things first, though, I want to save this game here, just so I don't get lost in space. It's a little bit of a habit, you know. Whenever I try out things that I'm not too fond of yet, saving the game is a nice thing to do. So, let's take a closer look at Sedacbia. And also, I'm really curious to see how much better the new fuel will serve me. So I think right now we're still burning the old hydrogen fuel rod. For some reason we're not using the better fuel yet, but that's okay. I'll configure that manually in a sec. Alright, we're at sail speed now. Let's make sure, though, our silly robot is going to use a good rod next. So, why is he preferring these? Well, maybe I'll need to put this on this slot. Because I know that the power will not be sufficient to get all the way to Sedacbia. Is that the way you would pronounce it? So here, now we're, this is actually the next slot for the next rod. Okay. So, let's give the warp drive a kick and see where we'll end. So yeah, we're still draining our battery massively quick, so... well, could be enough, though. Could be enough. I think I'm going to get close enough to not have to wait embarrassingly long to get closer to the planets. So, well... well, maybe I am. Embarrassingly far away, I mean. So, since I got that many warpers, does it? Oh, you need to have a minimum energy. Okay. You see, that's just also pretty new things for me. So let's see. Not enough energy. I think starting the warp on minimum energy would be pretty foolish as well. So, while we're here in space, that means a larger mecha core would be really spiffy, but haha, green cubes. We don't have these yet. And beyond that, well, this would increase the warp speed, but... well, energy circuit is a technology that at least increases my transformation of fuel to energy. Communication control, no. These things, they won't help me here. Solar sail life, though. Yes, please. Gimme. And Bane's utilization, yes please. So, this did cost me another jumper, but you know, what the heck. I have learned out of this that I'd be better off. Ah, okay, warps me directly to the planet, or ah, I can manually deactivate the warp. I see. Alright, just like every time when I start out with the features with this game new, I'm terribly confused. Okay, so first lesson I take out of this: interstellar travel with low energy is just flat out sucky. So let's reduce our solar sail speed for a moment here. I mean, with that kind of speed, I'm just drifting away from places. Alright. And now, let's adjust ourselves, you know? When it all becomes easier the more energy you got. It's, one of the biggest problems I've discovered in interstellar travel in this game, it lies in a lack of power on your mech. Lower the total power of your mech in terms of generation and consumption and everything, the worse. You really need to increase on these metrics to be able to go for the really long trips between the stars. So Sedacbia is, as we see here, most likely not going to be a good candidate for regular travels between the stars. So let's do our good old nosedive on this icy little ball there. Wow, that's a snowball, man. So, Ice Field Gelisol Satellite. Okay, there's tons of fire ice on this planet. Fire ice is pretty interesting because it allows us to produce graphene absolutely directly. Okay, let's check out the rest of that system, because fire ice is actually pretty interesting. So we got the gas giant of Sedacbia 3, featuring a little bit of deuterium and hydrogen. I don't like these too much. Numbers sound so low, you know, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Scarlet Ice Lake planet with lots and lots of titanium and copper and all. And reverse rotation Gobi type planet with fractal silicon. And that's that, isn't it? So, well, definitely not nearly as attractive as the system we've had in the first go. So, well, I like this planet a lot, but, well, wow, look at the looks of check out the looks of it. But I'm actually that disappointed of the trip that I'm actually going to be loading the game here. Forgive me about that, but I don't see the benefit of that trip, except for us spending a lot of resource to get there. I lost a little bit of research, but I can't really digest that. So, off to the next goals. We have now a steady access to deuterium fuel rod, which is freaking brilliant, you know. This is just the next generation of fuel for us. And now, well, the next big step is going to be the production of these green cubes. We'll have to set up an entire factory on 61 Orionis. That's going to be a pretty huge undertaking, and we'll have to bring lots of materials and lots of other things, so that's going to be quite a challenge. And of course, as usual, we'll have to set up a base camp and all. So this is going to be a pretty interesting challenge where we'll have to prepare a lot of things, especially logistics towers, because these are basically the most important things to go for, because without those we won't be able to transport our goods from one place to another. I am more and more tempted to produce the entire green matrices over at the other planet, because, you know, 61 Orionis has everything I need There's simply no reason for me to stop there. The only reason not to do my science at 61 Orionis is the fact that we've built up this, if a little bit crap-shoddy, but still effective, low-tier science facility, which I'm not planning to shut down anytime too soon. But maybe I'll just get ridden by a fluke and I'm gonna rebuild all the science at 61 Orionis instead of sending the green cubes over here. I haven't fully figured out yet. What I have figured out, though, is that from all the systems I've seen so far, Cabellicid is the most appealing one in terms of star luminosity. Although I don't think this is a number on the upper limit, because if we check out the remainder of the universe here, there's lots and lots of other bright stars, you know? Don't know, here. What's Cabellicid labeled as? It's a G-type star. So we definitely could go for other similarly bright stars. And I really got no clue. Oh yeah, here. Oh, I can't see it already. Here, luminosity 1.5. That's like 50% bonus on the total power output of your Dyson Sphere. But you know, these are also extra difficult. I like it how the game balances itself there, because you know, these are extremely far away. Yeah, I don't even want to know how hard it would be, but maybe it ain't. Luminosity 0.7. Oh yeah, that's a black hole. Yeah, okay. Probably not the brightest place to start. Okay, my friends. So that's this crazy episode today. We're gonna be seeing each other on 61 Orionis in the next episode. Meanwhile, I'm going to be packing up all the dandy fancy stuff we need for a factory setup on the other side. And yeah, I'll catch you guys there. My plan is to do the basic mining setup and the prefabrications of the boring stuff, like, you know, magnetic coils and all this stuff that nobody's interested in. I'm going to do off camera as usual. And we're going to hop over to 61 Orionis for the interesting parts to see where our journey will lead us. In the meantime, well, Cabellicid was practically a pretty nice start for our journey, but I think this system has played its part for me. Probably I'm going to stay for science here, probably not. I have no clue yet. Our journey will continue on the Orionis system, and I can't wait to get there. So, thanks so much for watching. I'm going to cut this episode a little bit shorter, because, you know, when I have nothing to say anymore, no reason to cut it longer than necessary. So drop your comments down below, leave me a thumbs up, and of course, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. And I hope we're going to have a blast on the next episode as well. Catch you guys there, and have a good one. Bye-bye.